Some games test your skill, and then some games test your patience, your reflexes, your confidence, and honestly, your will to keep playing. One bad jump, one late dodge, one missed shot, and suddenly you're not just losing. The game is exposing you in front of your own screen. Today, we're counting down 16 games you should avoid if you suck at video games. From brutal shooters and rage-fueled platformers to boss fights that feel personally disrespectful, these games are not here to help you. They are here to humble you. So grab your controller, prepare your excuses, and let's get into it. Sekiro. Sekiro is one of those games that does not care how many action games you have played before. The moment you step into its world, it forces you to learn its rules, and if you refuse, it destroys you. This is not Dark Souls with a samurai skin. You cannot hide behind a shield, overlevel your way through every problem, or panic roll until the danger disappears. Sekiro is all about timing, posture, pressure, and reading your enemy like your life depends on it, because it absolutely does. Every sword clash feels intense. Every boss fight feels personal, and every missed parry can turn a confident duel into a death screen in seconds. But that is also why the game is so rewarding. Once the rhythm clicks, combat starts feeling less like button pressing and more like a deadly dance. Still, getting to that point is painful. If you're impatient, bad with timing, or the type of player who mashes buttons when things get scary, Sekiro will punish you over and over again until you either adapt or quit. Elden Ring.
General Radon, a pleasure to see you. After all this time.
Elden Ring is the kind of game that makes you feel tiny in the best and worst way possible. You step into the lands between, see a golden tree glowing in the distance, and think, okay, I'm ready for an adventure. Then 5 minutes later, some random knight on a horse deletes your health bar like you offended his family. That is Elden Ring's magic. And its cruelty. It gives you freedom, but that freedom also means you can wander straight into nightmares you are absolutely not prepared for. Every cave could hide a boss. Every swamp could poison your soul. Every beautiful castle is probably full of enemies waiting to humble you. But that sense of danger is exactly what makes exploration feel so powerful. When you finally beat a boss that seemed impossible or discover a hidden area no marker ever pointed you toward, it feels earned. Still, if you are bad at timing, panic under pressure, or refuse to learn from death, Elden Ring will not carry you. It will hand you a sword, open the world, and let the suffering begin. Bloodborne. Bloodborne is the kind of game that does not just test your skill, it tests your nerves. From the moment you step into Yharnam, everything feels wrong in the best possible way. The streets are soaked in blood, the villagers scream like monsters, beasts crawl out of the dark, and the game gives you one simple message: hesitation will get you killed. Unlike slower Souls games, Bloodborne wants aggression. You cannot just hide behind a shield and wait for safety, because safety barely exists here. Every fight pushes you forward, forcing you to dodge at the last second, strike back fast, and stay calm while some nightmare creature is tearing the screen apart. And the bosses? They feel less like enemies and more like panic attacks with health bars. But that is what makes Bloodborne so unforgettable. When you finally beat something that destroyed you for an hour, it feels personal, like you survived the nightmare, not just won a fight. But if you are impatient, scared to take risks, or bad under pressure, Yharnam will eat you alive. Lies of P. Lies of P takes a story you think you know, Pinocchio, puppets, lies, humanity, and drags it through blood, oil, and pure nightmare fuel. The city of Krat is gorgeous, but it is also broken, empty, and crawling with machines that move like they were built to haunt you. And this game does not give you much room to breathe. Every enemy feels dangerous, every boss feels like a wall, and the combat demands real precision. You cannot just swing wildly and hope for the best. You have to block, dodge, perfect guard, manage your stamina, and punish openings at exactly the right moment. Miss the timing, and the game reminds you very quickly who is in control. But what makes Lies of P special is how elegant the suffering feels. The atmosphere pulls you in, the music makes everything feel tragic, and every victory feels like you are carving humanity out of a dead city one fight at a time. But if you are impatient, sloppy, or bad at reading enemy attacks, Krat will not forgive you. It will turn you into scrap. Dark Souls Remastered. Dark Souls Remastered is the game that built its reputation on one simple truth. It does not care if you are ready. Lordran feels ancient, lonely, and hostile from the moment you step out of the undead asylum. Every hallway hides danger, every shortcut feels like a miracle, and every enemy, even the weak-looking ones, can ruin you if you stop paying attention. This is not a game about rushing forward and looking powerful. It is about patience, fear, discipline, and learning from every painful mistake. One greedy swing, one badly timed roll, one moment of overconfidence, and you are staring at "you died again." But that is also why Dark Souls hits so hard. Every boss defeated feels like a mountain finally moved. Every bonfire feels like safety in a world that wants you gone. And every shortcut unlocked feels like the game quietly rewarding your suffering. But if you hate slow combat, vague direction, or losing progress after one bad decision, Dark Souls Remastered will not feel legendary. It will feel like Lordran personally does not want you there. Dark Souls 3.
That thing, your dark soul.
Dark Souls 3 feels like walking through the ashes of a world that has already died once and is somehow still suffering. Everything about it feels tired, broken, and dangerous. Ruined castles, twisted knights, dying flames, and bosses that look like legends crawling out of a nightmare. But the moment combat starts, the game makes one thing clear. This is not a victory lap. It is faster, sharper, and more aggressive than the older Souls games, and if you are slow, greedy, or careless, it will punish you instantly. Every enemy demands respect. Every boss feels like a final exam in patience, timing, and survival. One misdodge, one panic heal, one extra swing you should not have taken. And suddenly the fire fades again. But when Dark Souls 3 clicks, it becomes unforgettable. The rhythm of dodging, striking, backing away, and barely surviving feels almost poetic. Every win feels like dragging hope out of the darkness with your bare hands. Still, if you hate dying, learning patterns, or staying calm under pressure, Dark Souls 3 will not inspire you. It will break you beautifully. The first Berserker Khazan. The first Berserker Khazan feels like a game built for players who think they are ready, right before it proves they are absolutely not. From the first real fight, this thing has a brutal kind of confidence. Every enemy swings like they are trying to end your whole career, every boss feels angry enough to break the screen, and Khazan himself moves with this heavy, violent energy that makes every hit feel personal. But the game does not let you win just because you look powerful. You have to earn that power. You need to read attacks, block at the right moment, dodge with purpose, manage your stamina, and punish enemies only when the opening is actually there. Get greedy, and the game will crush you. Get scared, and it will corner you. But when you finally lock into the rhythm, when steel clashes, blood flies, and you turn a near-death fight into a comeback, it feels incredible. Still, if you struggle with timing, patience, or learning boss patterns, Khazan will not make you feel like a berserker. It will make you feel like the victim. Nioh 2. Nioh 2 is not just a Souls-like, it is a full-on combat exam disguised as a demon hunting action RPG. At first it looks familiar, dark samurai fantasy, brutal enemies, giant bosses, and a world crawling with yokai. But once the fighting starts, you realize this game has layers on layers. Stances, key pulses, weapon skills, magic, ninjutsu, yokai abilities, gear stats. It throws so many systems at you that even winning can feel like you are barely keeping up. Every enemy can destroy you if you get careless, and the bosses do not just hit hard, they pressure you until your stamina, timing, and confidence all collapse at the same time. But that is what makes Nioh 2 so addictive. When you finally understand the rhythm, when you switch stances, recover ki perfectly, dodge through chaos, and strike back with control, it feels incredible. Like you are not just surviving the nightmare, you are mastering it. But if you button mash, panic heal, or ignore the mechanics, Nioh 2 will tear you apart before the first real boss even respects you. Hollow Knight Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong takes everything that made the first game beautiful and painful, then gives it speed, sharpness, and a whole new kind of pressure. This time, you are not a quiet little knight sinking into a dead kingdom, you are Hornet, faster, more elegant, and somehow in even more danger. Farloom looks stunning, but every gorgeous corner feels like it is waiting to test you. Enemies move quicker, fights feel more aggressive, and the platforming demands confidence instead of hesitation. You are constantly climbing, escaping, striking, healing, and reacting before the world crushes you under Silk and Song. But that is what makes Silksong feel so alive. Every battle has rhythm, every jump has tension. Every boss feels like a performance where one wrong move ruins the whole dance. And when you finally survive a fight with barely anything left, it feels incredible. But if you are careless, impatient, or bad at fast precision gameplay, Silksong will not treat you like royalty. It will remind you that even Hornet can bleed. Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong is the kind of game that makes you feel powerful, right before it reminds you that legends still bleed. From the first steps into its mythic world, everything feels massive. Ancient forests, ruined temples, towering beasts, and bosses that look like they walked straight out of a nightmare told around a fire. But this is not just a flashy action game where you spin a staff and win. Every fight demands focus. You have to dodge with purpose, read enemy movements, manage your spells, use transformations wisely, and know exactly when to attack before the boss turns your confidence into dust. The combat feels fast, cinematic, and heavy, but it is also unforgiving when you get greedy. One missed dodge, one wasted spell, one panic heal, and suddenly the destined one looks very, very mortal. But that is what makes it so thrilling. When you finally learn a boss's rhythm and answer every monstrous attack with perfect timing, it feels like you are earning your place inside the legend. Still, if you struggle with patience, pattern reading, or staying calm under pressure, Black Myth Wukong will turn mythology into punishment.
7年修道时，师傅常说：“无关剑不可开，无绳约不可解。”如今我终于明白，树不自然，唯有自己。
Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is one of those games that looks quiet, beautiful, and almost gentle, until Hallownest slowly starts breaking you. At first, it feels like a mysterious little adventure through ruined caves and forgotten cities, but the deeper you go, the more the game reveals its teeth. Every area feels lonely, every bench feels like a blessing, and every boss fight demands patience, timing, and control. You are not some overpowered hero charging through enemies. You are a small knight in a massive dying kingdom, trying to survive creatures that hit hard, move fast, and punish every greedy mistake. And the platforming? Sometimes it is just as brutal as the combat, especially when the game starts asking for perfect jumps, sharp reactions, and nerves that do not crack under pressure. But that is why Hollow Knight hits so hard. Every victory feels earned. Every new ability makes the world open like a secret. Still, if you are impatient, careless, or bad at reading patterns, Hallownest will not feel magical. It will feel like a beautiful grave waiting for you. Sifu. Sifu is the kind of game that makes every punch feel personal. At first, it looks like a stylish martial arts revenge story. Clean hallways, sharp animations, brutal hand-to-hand combat, and that cool fantasy of becoming an unstoppable kung fu master. Then the game puts you in a real fight, and suddenly you realize mastery is not given to you. It has to be earned one painful mistake at a time. Every enemy can overwhelm you if you get careless. Every dodge, parry, sweep, and counter has to be timed with confidence. And the brutal twist is, when you die, you come back older. Stronger maybe, but closer to the end. So every failure leaves a mark, not just on your run, but on your character's body. That is what makes Sifu so intense. It is not just about winning fights, it is about learning discipline through punishment. When you finally clear a room without getting touched, it feels like cinema. But if you button mash, panic, or refuse to learn enemy patterns, Sifu will age you into dust before revenge ever feels close. Wukong Fallen Dynasty. Wukong Fallen Dynasty is the kind of game that makes every fight feel like a duel for your pride. At first, it throws you into a dark, war-torn version of ancient China, where battlefields are burning, demons are crawling through the chaos, and every enemy looks like they are waiting to punish your confidence. But the real brutality comes from the combat. Wukong is built around deflection, and if your timing is bad, the game exposes you immediately. You cannot just block forever, roll away from everything, or mash attacks and hope the enemy falls first. You have to stand your ground, read the rhythm, deflect at the perfect moment, and turn an enemy's aggression back against them. When it works, it feels incredible, like you are dancing through blades, sparks, and monster claws with complete control. But when it does not, even a regular enemy can make you look helpless. That is the beauty and pain of Wukong. It rewards courage, timing, and focus. But if you panic, hesitate, or fail to learn the flow of battle, this dynasty will bury you fast. Nioh 3. Nioh 3 feels like Team Ninja looked at every player who barely survived the last 2 games and said, "Good, now move faster." This is still that brutal Dark Samurai nightmare full of yokai, cursed battlefields, and enemies that can delete your confidence in seconds. But now the game feels even more dangerous because it gives you more freedom and more ways to mess up. Switching between samurai and ninja styles sounds powerful, but it also means you have to understand timing, spacing, key management, aggression, evasion, and when to stop pretending you know what you are doing. Every fight feels like a test of control. Samurai combat demands patience and precision, while ninja movement pushes you to stay fast, sharp, and unpredictable. But if your brain cannot keep up, the whole thing turns into chaos instantly. That is the beauty of Nioh 3. When everything clicks, you feel like a demon-slaying legend. But if you panic, mash buttons, or ignore the mechanics, this game will not just beat you, it will teach you humility with a blade. Returnal. Returnal is the kind of game that makes dying feel like part of the nightmare, not just a mistake. You crash on Atropos, alone, confused, surrounded by alien ruins that feel alive in the worst possible way. And then, the game starts hunting you. Every room throws something new at you. Glowing bullet patterns, strange creatures, sudden ambushes, and bosses that fill the screen with pure panic. And because it is a roguelike, death does not just send you back a few steps. It rips the run away from you and forces you to begin again, carrying only the memory of what killed you. But that is what makes Returnal so addictive. Each attempt feels like Celine slipping deeper into the planet and deeper into herself. The combat is fast, elegant, and terrifying, where movement is survival and hesitation is death. When you finally dodge through chaos and turn a doomed run into victory, it feels incredible. But if you panic under pressure, hate losing progress, or struggle with bullet hell intensity, Returnal will trap you in its cycle and break you beautifully. Remnant 2. Remnant 2 feels like a shooter at first, until it starts treating every fight like a Souls boss with guns. You step into these strange broken worlds thinking your aim will carry you, and then the game throws monsters, elites, traps, and bosses at you that do not care how confident you are. Every encounter has pressure. Enemies rush you from blind spots. Projectiles fill the arena, stamina runs out at the worst possible time, and suddenly your safe distance does not feel safe at all. What makes Remnant 2 so intense is that it constantly keeps you uncomfortable. One world might feel like dark fantasy horror, another like alien sci-fi madness, and every new area brings enemies with patterns you have to learn fast or die trying. But when it clicks, when you dodge through chaos, reload at the perfect second, and melt a boss with barely any health left, it feels incredible. Still, if you are bad at positioning, panic during boss fights, or think shooting alone will save you, Remnant 2 will prove very quickly that bullets are only half the battle.